Hey guys, what is up? We are back, and by we are back, I mean I am back, making videos for you guys because I know we had a couple of days off of videos of me this week. That's because I was waiting for our next book, the Scarlet Stocking Spy, to be delivered to me. So we are still in Module 3, and this is Lesson 16, but we are still talking about the American Revolution, except again we're focusing on perspectives, but how this time not just opinions being affected, but how people's actions are affected based on their perspective. Okay, so our focus question is, how did different people's perspectives affect their actions during the American Revolution? And then our content framing question is, what do I notice and wonder about the Scarlet Stocking Spy? And actually, as I was looking at Scarlet Stocking Spy, when I got it, it's a little bit of a longer text. It's more of like the George versus George style, where there's definitely pictures, but there's also a lot of text on a lot of the pages. So today, when you guys are doing your noticings and wonderings, I'm going to picture walk with you. I'm going to read part of it with you on the video, but I also just bought a PDF version so that you guys can open the document and read it for yourselves, and it has the page numbers on it and everything, so you guys will be good to go. But today we're going to start off again with the fact that the Scarlet Stocking Spy is historical fiction. Okay, in that way it's very similar to Colonial Voices, how even though Ethan is a made-up character, everything that was happening in that text had some bits of truth to it and is based on actual historical events, because as you guys should know by now, the Boston Tea Party did in fact happen. The Sons of Liberty were real, and all the jobs of the characters in Colonial Voices all existed at the time. And we're picking up where we left off in terms of that with Scarlet Stocking Spy, except this time instead of Ethan we have Maddie Rose. Okay, so Maddie Rose is kind of our main character in the Scarlet Stocking Spy. There are other significant characters as well that Maddie Rose gets close to and are very large parts in this text. But we're focusing today on Maddie Rose in the first however many pages we go through. Okay, your job today for your classwork is going to be to create a read, think, and wonder chart. So if you can't get one on your computer, please take a piece of paper, maybe turn it this way, and make 3 columns: one for read, one for think, and one for wonder. So this way, as we go through, you can jot some stuff down. This would be a good time to pause the video if you need to make your own chart, which I actually recommend doing even if you can't pull it up on the computer, because typing it into these columns can be a little tricky. Plus, this way you can take a picture of the chart you make for today and upload it. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to do that. Read, think, wonder, and we are good to go. So just by looking at the cover of the Scarlet Stocking Spy, you see a lot of people dressed in the colonial clothing of the time, and you see at the bottom it says a Revolutionary War tale, and the little award at the bottom is a Teacher's Choice Award from the International Reading Association. Okay, so and actually if you look at the cover really closely, I forgot to bring that in there, you see that person right in here is in fact wearing some red stockings, which scarlet is another way of saying red, or a shade of red. And we're going to keep it scarlet stockings because if we use red socks, I'm not going to be happy. So the Scarlet Stocking Spy, and I'm first just going to go through the pictures with you guys, do a picture walk, and then I will read up to where I've so nicely placed the pink post-it today. Okay, so again, you're just looking at the pictures for now. I'm gonna stand And you guys will be able to do this on your own once you see the PDF as well. Take a look. And then as you're looking, you guys can pause either the video and look, or if you want to look at the PDF, you can scroll through it yourself, which is what I suggest you be doing. Just look at the PDF instead after you watch the video, and just kind of jotting down some of the things you read, think, and wonder, okay? And you're also going to read this to yourselves once you have that version in front of you. Those Scarlet Stockings are one thing that I notice keep coming up, and they've been on a couple of different people at this point. This is a pretty important page. Wink, wink. And then this would be your last page. So again, I see her in the window, and I see her holding the stocking, so I'm thinking that those are going to be some important telltale signs, okay? And I say that because I have some knowledge of the Revolutionary War, and I know part of the significance of these Scarlet Stockings, because before I made this video I read it already, because that's what good teachers do. But I will read some of the beginning of this for you now, because this is a little bit of a higher level book. I think it's like a level U, so me reading it, and if you guys, as I'm reading right now, it would be a good idea to open up the document with the pages in it so that you can follow along too, and then that way you can also fill out your chart, okay? So, in the fall of 1777, Philadelphia sat twitching like a nervous mouse. So now, it says Philadelphia. We were just in Boston, and so New York is kind of like midway between Boston, which is north of us, and Philadelphia, which is south of us. So Boston's about 3 to 4 hours north, and Philadelphia is about 2 to 3 hours south of us. So where we are is right in the middle of these two places, but Philadelphia is south of us in Pennsylvania. The British were going to attack, but no one knew where or when. Congress had fled inland to York. The Liberty Bell was secreted to Allentown. Folks thought the year resembled a hangman's gallows and took it as a bad sign. Now the church bells were being removed to keep the British from melting them down into firearms. So metal can be melted, and the colonists were afraid that if the British attacked them, they would take the bells and turn them into more guns, which is a pretty scary idea when you think about it. Uncertainty settled over the city like soot. Suspicions skulked through the cobblestone streets like hungry alley cats. Rumors multiplied like horseflies. Spies were everywhere. Some spied for the British, loyal to the king. Others spied for the Patriots, loyal to Washington's army, now camped west of the city. Still, other spies were loyal to lining their pocket. So you kind of still have that Patriot, which would be the George Washington side, the Loyalist side, which is the British side, and then other spies. Those other spies who are looking to line their pockets. Lining your pockets means that you're looking to make some money. So the people that were in between, not really a patriot or a loyalist, were basically like, hey, I'll spy for you as long as you pay me. And it was a pretty common way to make money during the time. But one little spy moved through the streets unnoticed, even though she wore scarlet stockings. Her name was Mattie Rose, and she lived with her mother and brother in the Leather Apron District, next to the harbor, where the city's tradesfolk lived and worked in narrow brick row houses. Mattie Rose called her mother from the front room, not looking up from her spinning. Tarry not, Mistress Roth, hath need one linens this morning. Dusty eastern light filtered through the panes of thick glass in their tiny row house in Apple Tree Alley, where the click-clack-click of the flax wheel never stopped from early dawn till candlelight. So meaning that people were driving wagons up and down their blocks. Yes, mother, answered Mattie Rose, hurrying to poke at the fire. Each morning before she went to sew seams for Mistress Roth on Arch Street, Mattie Rose lowered the tea kettle over the hearth, then crushed dried raspberry leaves into to brew Liberty tea. Since the tea rebellion in Boston, drinking imported English tea was considered disloyal. Okay, so they make reference to the Boston Tea Party, and as you can see, they had some of the same feelings in Philadelphia about the Boston Tea Party. Okay. This morning, her mother looked tired, so Mattie Rose added a drop of precious honey. Carefully, she carried the china teacup they owned to her mother and treasured gift from her father. Here, mother dear, this will refresh you. Mattie Rose's mother stopped spinning and gently held her daughter's chin. You have a strong jaw, she sighed. Her eyes glistened softly. Mattie Rose knew her mother was remembering her father who had fallen in the Battle of Princeton last winter and lay with others beneath the soil of New Jersey. Many men had gone to war. Even her brother Jonathan, who was only 15, had joined Washington's army to wear the blue coat. Okay? So this story is a little bit different. This story takes place in 1777, so this is right in the middle of the Revolutionary War. There are battles happening, and it says, I want to go back to that tea line. It says, since the tea rebellion in Boston, drinking imported English tea was considered disloyal. Now, you guys might be thinking loyalists, but if you drank the British tea, you would be disloyal. You'd be going against the Patriots. So that's why she grounds up her own tea and uses that to show that she is, in fact, a patriot. Okay? Outside the bustling streets, Mattie Rose marched along to the rap-tap-tap of tinsmiths, blacksmiths, and cobblers. She breathed in mingled smells of sawdust, pitch, and baking bread as she passed cabinet makers, coppersmiths, shipwrights, and bakers. She marveled at the swish of the weaver's shuttle and blurred hands of busy lace makers and seamstresses, hoping someday she would be as skilled. So you're seeing some of those jobs that we learned about in Colonial Voices. From their busy shop fronts, these hard-working folk traded with the wealthy loyalists, but out the back they grave what they could not to cause of freedom. Nothing too good for them who soldier for our country, they all agreed. So basically they said that if you're fighting for our country, you can pretty much have whatever you want. Mattie Rose agreed too, for she was a patriot rebel from head to toe in her homespun petticoats, her linsey-woolsey dress and muslin apron, her hand-me-down shoes and woven straw hat, but it was her hand-knit scarlet stockings that she valued the most, for their worth was far greater than just warm, dry feet. So you're going to get the importance of the stockings and why this is called the Scarlet Stocking Spy. And that title is going to mess me up a bunch. Whenever Mattie Rose strutted by the fine young ladies of Philadelphia in their creamy white stockings and dainty slippers, she'd flounce her skirt and jut out her proud, strong chin. Such poppycock, she'd cluck to herself. No fancy silks, satins, and brocades imported from London to her. To wear such finery showed loyalty to the king. So we're seeing here that Mattie Rose is a real strong patriot. She has this strong opinion. She wears these homemade, sewn together stockings just so that she doesn't have to have stockings made of a fancy material that came from England and were sold by the British. So just going back to like the milliner, remember the milliner in Colonial Voices, she needed business from both sides. Mattie Rose, not given the milliner business because she's selling British goods. Okay? Mattie Rose was loyal only to Jonathan, which is her brother. And that makes sense because if your brother's fighting in the war, you're going to support exactly what he's doing. No one suspected her of anything, of course, not this hard-working little seamstress who helped her poor mother by earning 3 pence, which is a form of money. Why, she even hung the wash out every week like clockwork. But that's where Mattie Rose fooled them, for it was her small clothesline hanging from her third-floor window that held a secret code. See how she hangs the clothes out on the line? I have a feeling that those red or the scarlet stockings are going to be some sort of code. Now, you should be filling in your read, think, and wonder as we're going along, and that's something that I would be putting in my read, think, and wonder. I'm gonna say my think is that Maddie Rose is a patriot. We read that her brother is in the colonial army, and I wonder if the stockings are for sending a message. And now, you guys have done charts of this before. You should be doing just fine. But I figured I'd give you guys a little bit of a refresher. It's just jotting things down. And I know I'm getting a little long today, but I want you guys to hear me read. Okay, so she'd lined her clothesline up perfectly with the harbor, just like when she and Jonathan used to play harbor master. Jonathan pretended to be the harbor master, cupping his hands like a spyglass, barking out docking and departing orders from the upper window. Maddie Rose scrambled below, playing the harbor master's assistant, arranging cobblestones, apples, and scraps of wood as they were real ships. Jonathan always tricked her so there would be a collision. Then he'd make a loud crashing and exploding sound, till they both laughed. It was only a game, but now things were different. The country was at war. So in the picture you see Jonathan up in the window, and she's down here in the harbor, and he's kind of telling her what to do. And that's the same window that she's looking at as she hangs the laundry. And here's the last page for today. So once a week at dusk, using their secret code, Maddie Rose hung out her stockings and petticoats in the same order as the real ships along the wharf. So meaning that as she looked out the window, she could see the ships lined up. A petticoat was code for a lightweight, friendly vessel from the colony. So if she put a petticoat out, that ship meant it was good. A scarlet stocking hanging toe up meant it was a merchant vessel from the islands or a foreign port. When the toe hung down, it meant the vessel was suspicious and needed watching. But the ship was riding low in the water. It meant only one thing: heavy firearms for the British. That's when Maddie Rose would weight the stocking down with a cobblestone. So basically she had a system for each boat that was lined up in the harbor. She would put a petticoat here, another type of stocking here, then a scarlet stocking here, if she thought that the ship was suspicious, okay? So that was kind of her code for the ships. Now we'll figure out who she's signaling that all for as we keep reading. But for today we are done. I know it's a little long, but I wanted to introduce the text and read it to you. You guys have the PDF to complete your chart. You guys are also going to get a Rax response question. Please use Rax. Please don't make my life harder or more frustrating than it already is sometimes. Use Rax. I'm begging you. You guys should know at this point that if it says short response in Google Classroom, that it's Rax, okay? Mini rant over. We are back with Wit and Wisdom. We are back with the Scarlet Stocking Spy, and hope you guys have a good weekend. Bye.